Welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to this induction ceremony for the 2024 Roseau Athletic Hall of Fame class. And I think before we start, we should maybe give that group and their presenters a hand. Some thank yous before we start. Thank you to Paula Dirks from Unique Creations, who does the plaques for this event. And I told Tanner, but if you guys are interested in a plaque, he can help you figure out how to order plaques. Thank you to Don Haugen from Quality Printing, who does the programs. Thank you to Roseau School and Ken Hayden. Ken, are you up in the sound booth or are you down front? Where is he? Ken's right there. So thanks to Ken and all the work the Roseau School does for us. Particularly thank you to Citizen State Bank. If it was not for Citizen State Bank, this event would not exist. So, thank you. Goalies, thank you very much. Some introductions, if I could. I know Jane Evans is here. Jane's over here, member of our committee. Ken's a member of our committee. Where's Gotzi? Where'd you go? Terry Gottsman is a member of our committee. Did I miss any committee folks that are here? Tracy Wensloff in the back is a member of our committee. And Christine Reese, a member of this committee. If you have nominees that you'd like to have considered, please talk to some of the folks that are members of the committee and they will help you understand how you go about doing that. So with that, coffee and treats afterward. And Jennifer Rose Olson, I think made cupcakes perhaps. Does that sound right, Ken? Or cake or something or other. And wrestlers, you don't need to make weight anymore, so you're welcome to join.
Olson does.
So let's begin with introduction of the 1946 Roseau boys basketball team, and Stu McFarland will help us with that. Stu.
We've got several teams that we put into the Hall of Fame, and we started realizing one of the first teams to ever go to the state from Roseau High School, the 1946 boys basketball team, hadn't been inducted yet, and they definitely deserve to be there. Incidentally, the only boys team that's ever made it to the state basketball tournament, which is hard to believe. They did it in 1946. There was only 8 teams that made it to the state tournament back then. Bemidji was the big school in the area, kind of the juggernaut, and that was always the team to beat, and it was tough for the smaller schools to put enough boys together to compete and make it that far. But the 46 boys team was comprised of Jerry Huckable, Ray Benson, Luther Hegland, Edward Schwartz, Mike Delmore, Norrell Binky Erikson, Frank Ricken, Herbert Minarek, Ward Wenner, and Vernon Sunset. A.J. Kramer was the 26-year-old coach at the time. We're not sure, so if I'm wrong on this, we know that Ward Wenner is still surviving. We're not sure if any other team members are surviving at this time. And just a side note, Ward Wenner's granddaughter, was a 2020 U.S. Olympian with volleyball team. So interesting side note. But anyway, back to the basketball team. They hosted the district tournament here in Roseau and didn't disappoint their home crowd. They beat Lancaster in the first game, 45-28. Actually, they beat Lancaster in the semifinals, 45-28. Luther Hegland had 16 points. Gary Huckable had 13 more. And then Ray Benson led the way with 15 points in the district championship game as they beat Badger 45-25. They suffered a loss in the districts though, as Ed Schwartz broke his wrist. So couldn't continue on playing in the rest of the tournament. The Region 8 tournament was held in Thief River Falls. For over 2,000 people attended each game. The exciting thing at that time is Thief River just got a new electric clock, so that was pretty new for the boys and the fans to see. They had a quarterfinal game. They beat Fisher 37-36. Luther Hegland had 15 points. Ray Benson at 14 in the semifinal game as Rosa got past Erskine, 46-44. And a good thing happened in the quarterfinals. Crookston upset Bemidji, which wasn't supposed to happen. And so that got Bemidji out of the running. And, in the title game, Rosa ended up winning 33-27 to head down to the state tournament. Rosa was the only team at the state tournament that didn't have a mascot or a name. The Rams hadn't came about yet in 1946. So the newspapers just described them as Roseau, the shortest team with the shortest coach. Unfortunately, when they got down there, they met some very tall players. They lost to Austin in the first round, who was the eventual state champion, and then Tower Sedan beat Roseau in a close game in the consolation semifinals. But they did receive a congratulatory telegram from Minnesota's Secretary of State, Mike Holm, who was a Roseau native, and of course they were welcome home to a large crowd. So, hopefully someday we can have another boys basketball team that makes it to the state tournament, but for now we honor the 1946 boys basketball.
This may come up later, but the wrestlers that are going in, they're the only wrestling team to represent Roseau at the state tournament as well. And interestingly, it's 50 years between the 46 basketball team and the 96 wrestling. And I would also note, I read this in the Roseau paper from 1946. The days before buses, Oscar Almquist and George Rowe drove this basketball team to the state tournament. They stayed at the Curtis Hotel in Minneapolis, which was one of the nicest hotels in the state at the time. And apparently they had some time to kill because they went to the Ice Capades twice, and they went to see the Minneapolis American Hockey League team play once at this basketball tournament. So apparently they had fun. Kind of cool today, I think the presenters are either a parent or a child of an inductee, and the first of those is my friend Sarah Olson. Sarah?
Good afternoon. I'd like to take a moment to extend my congratulations to each of the Hall of Fame inductees today, as well as express a big thank you to all who are here in attendance. Many of you have traveled a distance to be part of the ceremony, and that is so greatly appreciated. I've been given the unique opportunity and privilege to be on the stage today and in the company of all of you to present my daughter, Amy, for the Roseau Athletic Hall of Fame. When Amy connected with us one day via FaceTime call, she told us she'd been nominated for this award and asked if I would be her presenter. I was so excited for her, but me as presenter? Certainly there were far more worthy personnel who would be much more appropriate than old Ma standing before you today. But she insisted, and truth be told, I couldn't pass up the opportunity, as it was her wish, and I was honored beyond words to be her choice. I've had the pleasure of having a front row seat in watching Amy from day one in her pursuits in athletics, her education, career, and life in general. I watched her gain success from her hard work, sheer determination, and always striving her best. And when that wasn't good enough in her eyes, she'd dig even deeper. From a very young age, Amy wanted to try everything. Just give her an opportunity, and challenge accepted. Truly, she does come by that naturally. In fact, she is one of the most competitive people I know. Second only to an individual you may also know, who happens to be sitting in the audience. As is true with many athletes, Amy's achievements have not come without obstacles. Like others, she has suffered season-ending injuries. One of those times was her sophomore year of college. Going through the devastation and rehabilitation following a major surgery, one might expect the skates to be hung permanently in the garage. But for Amy, it meant work harder, get stronger, get back out there. And by the following August, she was back on the ice. She played 2 more seasons for the Huskies and was voted captain her senior year. As you read in her bio, you can see her competitive life didn't just involve hockey. She also excelled in tennis and track. When people would ask for her favorite sport, she would always say, "It's whatever season I'm playing at the time." To her, sports were fun, it was her life, and it still is. Amy's always up for an adventure and has continued her passion for sports by participating in marathons, half Ironmans, and trail races in the mountains. As her parents, we have also been most proud of her academic and character awards that she has earned over the years. She worked equally as hard as a student to achieve good grades and show leadership in the school, church, and community. She has continued those practices by her involvement in the Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute as a bi-ski instructor, coach and mentor at Hockey Ministries International, and most recently, skills and dryland coach for the Snow King Hockey Association. At the end of the day, even more than the stats, the state tournaments, the points, and the wins, it's the community of support that has played a role in making it all happen. To the coaches, teammates, teachers, families, and fans, you all are deserving of recognition. That support has contributed to a future of success beyond the arena, track, and court. And as parents, Jeff and I are once right here. That said, it is my privilege and honor to present to you Amy Olson as a 2024 member of the Roseau Athletic Hall of Fame. I want to start by congratulating my fellow inductees. What an honor to be sharing this experience with Chris Scotsman, Mr. Oliver, the 1996 boys wrestling team, and the 1946 boys basketball team. Without role models, positive coaches, teachers, and a legacy of greatness in this community, it wouldn't be what it is today, and I wouldn't be where I am today. Also, thank you to the selection committee. I'm truly humbled to be standing here this afternoon, feeling a whole lot of imposter syndrome, accompanied with a whole lot of pride. And now, I want to acknowledge my presenter, who I call Mom. When we were told that we needed to pick someone to introduce us at this ceremony, I was flooded with so many great options. Past influential coaches, hyper-supportive uncles, mentors, even various teachers. But as I reflected on what this meant, it was clear that there was no one more qualified than my mom. I can say with a lot of confidence I would not be the athlete, daughter, sister, coworker, or friend without the influence and support of my mom. She has been my greatest cheerleader, my therapist, my confidant, my caretaker when I was injured, and more often than both of us would like to admit, the mediator between my dad and I after a heated practice or game. She was, and well still is, the first person I would call with good news, bad news, sad news, and even during a few post-bar close walks home during my days at state. She always answers, she always listens, usually. She encourages me, she challenges me, and most importantly, she loves me unconditionally. She is the strongest person I know and has played such a critical and special role in my athletic career and life thus far. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything you have done and continue to do for me and our family. Someone that I really wish could be here today is my Grandpa Floyd. If we want to talk about #1 fans, this man would fit the bill for all of his grandkids. I knew exactly where to find him at every single sporting event, whether it was upstairs at the Memorial Arena, posted on the far right side, or at the end of the offensive zone in the Sports Center for hockey games. I would always make sure I laid eyes on my grandma and grandpa the first couple strides I took onto the ice. I feel very fortunate to have grown up a couple blocks from my grandparents. One of my most cherished memories is that my grandpa would get my skate sharpened before every game. It started when I was young. In youth hockey, I would put my skates by our front door, and he would come over sometime during the day while we were all at school, take them to Rouse True Value, and have them sharpened. Every time I came home to grab them, they would be right where I left them, but with a treat tucked inside one of them. At some point, he found out, well, it was probably my grandma, Margie, who clued in that Snickers was my favorite, and after that, I could always count on a Snickers bar inside one skate. This tradition continued all through my senior year, even after I got my driver's license, and they put a skate sharpener in the rink. I still brought my skates home before every game, set them by the door, and pick them up after school.
There'd be times I probably didn't even really need them sharpened, but it was the act and the closeness I felt to my grandparents that made it a lasting tradition. They would get so excited to see me play, no matter the outcome of the game, match or race. And I know he would be beaming down today and would probably treat me to a king-size Snickers bar. Some of the best memories I have of this as an athlete took place as a Roseau Ram. I always felt this sense of pride and honor to put on a green and white jersey of any kind. Even to this day, when people ask me where I'm from, I love that I get to say Roseau, Minnesota. The history, respect, competition, camaraderie, and clout is both unique and long-standing. People have always said you must have had to sacrifice so much to be a multi-sport athlete and then later a collegiate athlete. And yes, sacrifice comes with many things we choose to do, and I'm sure at the time it felt like I was missing out on so many things because I had to shoot pucks or get up for early morning workouts. But when I really think about it, it was the people around me that sacrificed the most. Looking back on it now, my parents' free time was spent shuttling my sister and I to practices, games, making sure we were fed, that our equipment fit, that our schoolwork was done, and that our home was open to friends and teammates with a revolving door. I don't think I'll ever fully be able to thank my parents and my sister for the sacrifices they have made to support me and allow me to pursue all that I have. But now as a coach in a new organization, one of the first things I say at the opening parent meeting is thank you. They might not be hearing it from their 15 and 16-year-olds yet, but we couldn't and they couldn't do it without them. I wish I could personally thank every single person that has had an impact on my life in this community. This experience was a great reminder of how influential my time as a Ram was, and even more importantly, how many special people that have had a lasting mark on me. To name a few, my tennis coaches, Jack Swanson and Sharon Grafstrom. I have never had more fun playing, and I want to say winning, and recreating than I did during my tennis career. Ryan Bergstrom, Stacy Monkman, Shane McFarland, and my dad. The work that was done to stand up girls hockey in this community and create competitive winning teams from single to AA is undeniable. You never forget your trips to the state tournament, and I was lucky to have made a couple. Dan Fabian and the late Mr. Jones, where I found my love for running and individual competition. All my youth coaches and volunteers, what a selfless job and such an important one. Shaping the future of our high school programs and establishing so many important foundations early on. Dan Ernest, our school counselor, who was always up for a pre or post-game chat in the hallway and there to talk me off the ledge when I was trying to plan out my entire future at 17. Mr. Gottsman, whose office I would frequently visit to get one of his bellowing pep talks. John Carsons, our girls hockey superfan, team supplier of chocolate chip cookies and the most accurate goal judge. Dave Erickson, our road warrior and family friend that has always felt like family. My teammates who I have created lifelong friendships and bonds with. We grew up together, we battled hard together. We won and we lost together. We laughed, we cried, we shared long, cold bus rides together, oftentimes illuminated with headlights, trying to finish our homework assignments before 0 hour the next morning. Being a member of a team has been one of my greatest joys, and I will forever cherish the relationships and experiences that sport and competition have given me. My sister Grace, who I like to say is my little big sister, and one that I've always looked up to. Unfortunately, we didn't get to be formal teammates, but she has been my ride or die since day one, and I'm so lucky to have her as my built-in best friend and the most steadfast person in my corner. To my aunts, uncles, and cousins who have traveled across the state and country to watch me compete and took the time to call and send emails of encouragement after a tough loss or a big win, thank you. I have saved every single one of those exchanges and have felt your presence in all that I do then and now. And lastly, to my dad, to the man that has served many roles in my life. From teacher to coach to mentor and friend, we have shared the most unique relationship of anyone I know. He was a very large part of the evolution of girls hockey in Roseau, from standing up the first 10U girls team to coaching my sister and I through our final years as a Ram. He taught me what it meant to compete, to be on a team, to win with pride, to lose with grace, to treat people with respect, to show up as your best even on the days you didn't want to, and to have fun along the way. Thank you for investing in me, in my sister, in our family, and in this community. You have always been my hero. Thank you everyone for being here today and for supporting this special tradition. I'm forever proud to be a Roseau Ram.
Can I tell a quick tennis story? So when I coached tennis, we would run summer, I suppose it was summer school tennis probably, and my players helped. Amy was one of them. And we used to do a drill. First I have to show you, when ready position in tennis is like this. You've got both hands on the racket, you're like this, you're ready. So Amy is running one of those tennis camps, and a young man is doing a drill where, I don't remember what we called it, Amy, but he stood at the net, he was supposed to volley it. And somebody was in the back at the baseline hitting it fairly hard at him, correct? So Amy said, remember ready position, and he went. Next, it's my honor to present Anna Gottsman. Anna?
Hello, I'm Anna Gottsman, and I'm so honored to be chosen to introduce my dad, Chris Gottsman. Although I wasn't around for my dad's hockey career, I have heard much about it. My dad was a 3-year Roseau hockey letter winner, captain of the Rand State hockey champion team in 1990, as well as the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament MVP in 1990. In his senior year, he had a total of 65 points and was the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament leading scorer with 4 goals and 2 assists. Besides hockey, my dad participated in Rams boys golf as captain for 2 years, as well as being a 5-year letter winner. Finally, he was a 1-time Ram football letter winner. I've seen him throw a football, stick to hockey. After high school, my dad attended the University of North Dakota, where he played for 4 years. He was a 2-time UND men's hockey team assistant captain from 1992 to 1994. And he was a UND Men's Hockey Rookie of the Year in 1990. He was awarded the UND Male Scholar Athlete of the Year award in 1994. Finally, my dad finished his career at UND with 146 games, 38 goals, and 28 assists, with a total of 66 points. During college, my dad was a U.S. Hockey Olympic Festival participant from 1990 to 1991. He also played for the U.S. World Junior Team in 1991, totaling seven points. He is one of only 7 Roseau Rams ever chosen to play in the tournament. My dad was a second-round, 29th overall NHL draft pick for the New Jersey Devils, which at the time was the highest Minnesota player picked in 1990. He's the highest NHL draft pick of any Roseau Ram ever drafted. Afterward, he played for 3 years professionally and participated in the AHL, IHL, ECHL, and COHL. While playing for the Columbus Chill, he has the rookie scoring record for 35 regular season goals in 56 games. Professionally, he played in 224 games with 99 goals and 85 assists, with a total of 184 points. After retiring from the sport, my dad has coached numerous teams, including my older brother's hockey and baseball teams. Along with that, he recently started assistant coaching for the boys hockey team at my school. It is interesting to see my dad interact with all my friends from school. Often the boys on the team will say, "Tell Coach Gotts I say hi," or look up his stats in the middle of class. They all love him. Aside from hockey, my dad is still pretty cool. He's a diehard Swiftie and always down for a Starbucks run with his favorite daughter. He is always there for me and my brothers and always supports us with whatever we do, whether it be school, sports, or anything in between. I could not be prouder of my dad and all of his accomplishments. I'm so lucky to call him my dad. Congratulations.
Thank you, Anna. What an honor to have you present for me today, so thank you so much. As Anna mentioned, I'm the assistant coach at Holy Angels boys hockey, and we're actually opening our season this year in Roseau, so I'll be back in a month. So I'm not sure what it's going to be like sitting in the opposing bench. Maybe I can get some pro tips from Coach Oliver over there, because I know he's done that. But anyway, I know Coach Lund has been texting me already to take it easy on the Rams, and I have no doubt that the Roseau Rams boys team is going to be ready to play at private school from the Twin Cities.
I would like to congratulate all the other Hall of Fame nominees on their well-deserved nominations this year. I would also like to thank my hockey and football coach, Jeff Olson, who's here today, for nominating me, as well as Coach Dean Blaze for supporting my nomination. I would also like to thank the many youth and high school coaches that helped shape my development as a hockey player and a young man. I'm also very honored that my 3 children, Matthew, Andrew, and Anna, are here today. I'm so very proud of all of you. And to my wife, Debbie, you stood by me since the UND days, putting your career on hold for a few years while I chased my boyhood dreams, and I'm forever grateful for that. I also appreciate you for all the sacrifices you've made while I've coached youth and high school hockey for so many years. So many nights at home while I'm at the rink most of the winter. To my father-in-law, Roger, thanks for making the trip to Roseau for the very first time today. For also giving me an opportunity to get into the business world after my hockey playing days. I'm also so thankful for both of my sisters, Teresa and Kathy, as you both tagged along with so many cold rinks and logged so many miles there to be there for my games. It must have rubbed off because you're the 2 best hockey moms I know. My parents, the late Connie Gottsman, thank you for pulling me in a sled over a mile each way to the rink to learn how to skate, helping lace my skates, and for getting out of bed to take me to band and practices at 6 a.m. in your pajamas. I'm also thankful for my dad, Terry, for always being someone to lean on for advice, for pushing me to be the best, and for always reminding me that good things happen to those that work hard. That was his motto, and boy was he ever right. Hockey has given me so many experiences in life, I'm not sure where to start. I've been able to travel across North America, with one of those experiences being the NHL draft in Vancouver. It was an unbelievable experience, both my memory with my parents, my grandpa Harry, as well as Jeff and Sarah Olson. Representing the University of North Dakota hockey program and getting to experience the Gopher Sioux series at home and at Mariucci Arena, and so many other great college hockey arenas around the country. Doing interviews and visiting with the voice of the Badgers, our very own Jack Swanson during my North Dakota playing days. It was always great to see that familiar face on the road. And as you can see, he's wearing Wisconsin red today. Representing the United States at the World Junior Championships in Saskatchewan my freshman year at college was a true honor and a memorable experience I will never forget. It was pretty easy to play alongside 2 future NHL greats in Doug Waite and Keith Tkachuk and have a really good tournament. Attending my first NHL training camp with the Chicago Blackhawks in the final days of the old Chicago Stadium, and being part of an 80-game consecutive sellout streak with Columbus Chill in the East Coast Hockey League and setting their rookie scoring record. Playing on a team that helped lay the groundwork for Columbus for the NHL expansion. I also played for the St. John Flames and the Calgary Flames AHL team. Playing in Canada is just different. They know the game and they won't take it easy on you. I once stopped by McDonald's in the Skyway on the way to practice to grab a cup of coffee the morning after a game. The 17-year-old girl behind the counter was not hesitant to tell me, "Boy, you really played like crap last night." It was a little more colorful than that, if you know what I mean. And last, my team getting a pregame pep talk while playing in the minor leagues from the late Walter Gretzky in the locker room in Brantford, Ontario. I was lucky to have these experiences, and I'm confident that without growing up in Roseau, they most likely would not have happened. And for that, I'm forever grateful. What gave me the foundation for these experiences and success? Growing up in Roseau gave me that foundation. Winning the 1990 state hockey championship with my boyhood friends and teammates was the culmination of an amazing experience growing up in the community of Roseau. When people say that there is nothing like playing in the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament, it isn't a cliche. Winning the state tournament is on a whole nother level. We had so many battles with that Grand Rapids team growing up over the years. If it was a 7-game series, no doubt it would have gone all the way to Game 7. I'm just glad we won Game 1. Growing up in Roseau, there is just a culture that promotes winning. Is winning the most important thing in life? No. But I'm a firm believer that if you grow up in the right culture, you will end up winning and be successful often. The culture of Roseau is what has given me myself and so many other great hockey players that foundation of skills, leadership, and a winning attitude to succeed at the next levels. With culture, I believe there are really 5 character traits that Roseau promotes that helped me along the way. Number one, hard work pays off. Without hard work, it will be hard to be better than average. My endless hours of working on my game on the North Rink and the Roseau River, shooting hundreds of pucks against the tarp, power skating clinics with the great Nancy Burgraff, because if you weren't a great skater, you were not going to make it to the next level. Riding my road bike, the 22-mile round trip to the Canadian border for training rides to prepare for the upcoming season. Putting in the extra work to be at your best. Hard work has always been the cornerstone of the culture of Roseau hockey. Number two, consistency. Always working to be as good or better each day in whatever you set out to accomplish. Continue to build on what you started, and you will see improvement. Consistency in your work and effort gives coaches the trust they can put in you in the toughest of situations, and know that you are reliable and can be counted on. Teamwork. We always had great individual players on all the teams that I played growing up, but in Roseau, the team was always first. We were a successful group from peewees, bantams, and all the way through high school. We had skill, size, physicality, and a complete cast of characters with a unique personality. Being part of a productive line with number 4 and number 5. We were known as the CBC line for Chris, Billy, and Chris. We pushed each other hard, and we made each other better. When you play with somebody that long, it becomes second nature. Sometimes you did not need to say anything. Just give each other a nod or a look, and we knew what each other was going to do and where each other was going to be on the ice. Nobody had to tell us that if the team was successful, we would all go further on as individuals in the long run. Great teams are made up of unselfish players, and that was our identity. Number 4, leadership. Understanding the importance to lead those around you and knowing you need to set a good example for your teammates, classmates, and the youth players that looked up to us being a Ram. We had great role models to look up to growing up. For me, it was Tommy Peterson, who I grew up across the street from on 7th Avenue South. Tommy was one of the great Roseau Rams in the early 1980s who ended up playing 4 years at Colorado College in the WCHA. I looked up to Tommy and wanted to be just like him. Being a good student, active in multiple sports, and a really good hockey player. Those are some of the traits I learned from watching Tommy growing up. Number 5, pride. Taking pride in being a complete hockey player in all areas of the game. Understanding that blocking a shot or killing a penalty can be as important as scoring a big goal. Knowing and believing that you were part of something bigger. And taking full responsibility, knowing that you were representing the players and the generations of hockey players that came before you. Something I never took lightly. Putting a Rams jersey on to represent our community for the Rams-Warriors rivalry, there is simply nothing that can replicate that experience anywhere. With that being said, I want to say thank you. I have achieved a lot in my hockey career, but being inducted to the Roseau Hall of Fame is the biggest honor yet. I feel so blessed and proud to be selected with this honor, and it means the world to me. Thank you.
Tommy Peterson was here this summer. I saw him on the golf course. He would be looking up to you now. I'll tell you a quick story. At the time, Nancy and I owned a Toyota Tercel. I don't know if you're familiar with a Tercel, but it's about as big as this right here. And Chris and Izzy Marvin were playing for North Dakota. We're in Madison. And you guys missed the bus, if I recall. Remember this? And I said, well, I'll give you a ride back to the hotel. Can you imagine he and Izzy getting into a Toyota Tercel? And that. And then you're a diehard Swiftie? Gotsy, do you know what a Swiftie is? You do. Coaches beget coaches, and our next presenter is the son of a coach and a state champion with the Roseau Ram boys hockey team. And he can't be here today because he's coaching for the University of Wisconsin. So, Ken, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's, okay.
So when he fixes it, you'll see Nick Oliver up on this.
honor to introduce my dad, Coach Scott Oliver, for induction into the Roseau Athletic Hall of Fame. He has been extremely successful throughout his coaching career. Before moving to Roseau, he was the head hockey coach at the University of Minnesota Crookston, where he led the Golden Eagles to 5 straight conference championships and 2 NJCAA national championships. In 2003, Scott moved to Roseau to proudly accept the head boys hockey coaching position. During his tenure as Roseau's head coach, he accumulated a record of 124, 45, and 4, and was named Section 8 Coach of the Year 3 times. Coach Oliver and the Rams traveled to St. Paul for 3 consecutive Minnesota State Tournament appearances, most notably leading the Rams to the State AA Hockey Championship in 2007. After coaching for the Rams, Scott went on to win Class A state championships in 2014 and 2015 as an assistant coach at East Grand Forks. Coach Oliver has continued to coach top players from northern Minnesota in the Upper Midwest High School Elite League for the past 15 years. Dad, when you decided to accept the head coaching position in Roseau, you understood the history and expectations of the program, and I know you were always excited about taking on that challenge. You knew this was a special place where you could win and develop young men. During your time in Roseau, you earned the respect of the community with how you ran your hockey program, but most importantly, you earned the respect of the players who had the opportunity to play for you. On behalf of all the Roseau Rams you coached, thank you for demanding our very best and setting a standard that always pushed us to be better. You always held us accountable to important details and habits, which played a huge part in our development as players. Your former players went on to play at various levels of junior hockey, in college at the Division I and Division III levels, the World Junior Championships, and even the NHL, which is a testament to your impact on the development of hockey players in Roseau. I've always admired you for the job that you did. It wasn't just about the winning and success, but rather how you did it. The mark of a great coach is the legacy you leave on a program, the community, and your players. The same things you valued as a coach still resonate with your former players today. It should make you unbelievably proud to see the type of husbands, fathers, educators, coaches, and community leaders you helped to mentor and develop. You've earned enough trust from your former players to have been asked to babysit their kids on multiple occasions, and you even officiated a former player's wedding. I'd say you had a pretty meaningful impact on us all. Dad, many times throughout our time playing for you, you told us, always appreciate what has been done for you. Now it is our turn to celebrate you and show appreciation for all you have done to touch the lives of your players throughout your career. It has been an honor and a privilege sharing this hockey journey together. I wish I could be there to celebrate with you in person, but I decided to follow in your footsteps and get into the coaching profession. Congratulations. We love you very much.
Thank you, Ken, for getting that up there. Well, I hadn't had a chance to see it or hear it at introduction, as my wife told me there still has to be a Christmas and a birthday, so you'll get to see it and hear it on Sunday. I am very honored. I want to thank the Roseau Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. I want to congratulate all the other inductees here today. Chris, it is tough being on the opposition bench. Okay, I can tell you that right now. The only good thing was both teams wore green, but I figured I was be good in the end either way. But yeah, I found myself, it was a unique opportunity and not one that I really liked that much when I was in East Grand Forks. I want to thank my wife Denise, and the love and from my family, and Denise, my brother Ford's here today, and for just their support. You know, when you go into coaching, it just isn't coaching, it's teaching. And it's a teaching, coaching passion that I've always had. And in order to do that, you have to have support from your family. And I really, really appreciate the opportunity, Denise, you've given me to pursue this. Special thanks to Terry Gottsman. Terry gave me the opportunity to come to Roseau. I had the greatest teaching job in the world, K through 3rd grade, elementary, Phi-Ed, every day we get hugs and smiles. Even after World would beat us that first year, sport was not something that I was looking forward to coming in the next day to back to school, but the kids, they don't care at that age, they're just happy to see you and excited to be in gym. So I appreciated that opportunity, Terry. You were a mentor, you were a friend. You always had everyone's back. And I appreciate that. To all the coaches that I worked with and had the opportunity to work with, I can't thank you enough for all your time you put in. And the reason this is such a special place and such a special program is that it's not just the coaches that I worked with at the high school, it was all the youth coaches that put all that time in. You know, and I'm still coaching. I'm retired from teaching, but I'm still coaching. And I coach in the Elite League, the Midwest High School Elite League. It's just a fall league for September and October. It's on weekends. It's every weekend. We're down in New Hope, Minnesota. And it's for the best of the best across the state, Wisconsin, North Dakota, and then our great state of Minnesota. I get to work with some really, really outstanding hockey players, but over the years, I didn't have and didn't coach these kids in high school, but Thor Bufflin, right? Thor just scored his first goal this past weekend with St. Cloud State, right? Max Strand, who was Mr. Hockey, just scored his first goal this past weekend with Vermont. And you got Noah Ernest, who's in waiting to go to college at St. Cloud State University. He's in Sioux Falls right now. But they're all a product of Roseau and this community and the caring and the time that everyone puts into it. And listening to my son, having not seen it yet, but I will when I get home, listening to it, he's a product. Amy's a product. Chris is a product. Right? The wrestlers that are being honored are all a product of this great community. So, lastly, to the players, I can't thank you enough for all the memories and all your hard work and commitment and conforming to a new coach with new ideas and not really new. Such a simple game. And we were so fortunate to have players that were so well prepared coming into high school hockey. And a lot of that goes back to the parents, with how they're being raised, how they're being put into these situations, but right, the grit, just the hard work that goes into playing this game or being involved with any team is very, very important. And again, our community does it better than anyone else. Great community, school district, the students, and a commitment to Ram hockey like nowhere else. And I'll just end it by saying, lastly, I am honored. Very honored. Thank you.
I don't know if you have thought about this, but Roseau's had 4 coaches that have won state boys hockey championships: Oscar Almquist, Dean Blaze, Bruce Olson, and Scott Oliver. And the thing that's true for all 4 of them is the second letter of their last name is L. So Gotcha get any sense you would have hired Larry Platson to be the next one. Last but not least, and his team are doing this last because nobody in the world wants to follow Bro. So, Tanner, good luck to you. Our friend Jeff Bro Olson.
I think he hurt his shoulder, right? So he gets all the way to the semifinals and he's really looking good. And who does he meet? Some horse, just as tough as Ben. And the problem was, they went into overtime, so that's another 3 minutes. It was 6 and then another 3. So we had a little break, like a 30-second break maybe. I said, Ben, whenever you do, don't tie up with the guy. He said, throw arrows. What did he do? He tied it up and he got to throw it. What are you going to say? It hurts to lose then. If you're in the finals, you don't have another 2 matches. But I mean, and then we had, Ben was 6th, but he was such a great sportsman and a great competitor. Okay, we had freshmen. Food, where you at? He couldn't even make 80 pounds. You want to stand up, Food, quickly? I didn't know he was losing his hair. Huh? And then you got Jimmy. Jimmy, you want to stand up?
Show him up, big guy.
Come on, Jimmy. Won't do it. Okay, then we had one other freshman, Steve Hobby, that had the toughest. Okay? But they were all good guys, and then you got Ryan Helverson. One quick story of Ryan Helverson. Who is this couple here? I've seen you before. You, man. Did you steal that Roseau sweatshirt? I'll be that in a minute. Okay. Ryan Helverson. Here we're in the section team final. And he goes up, they go off the mat, and the guy somehow managed to slam his head on the gym floor. It was just like a bowling ball. You know, you could hear it. And I ran over to him, I said, "You're not hurt?" "Hurt," he said. And he smashed his hand into the floor and ran back to the mat, and his opponent looked shocked. Like he was dealing with a crazy man. But I'll tell you, I didn't go any farther on that, or further, I guess, if you're an English major. Yeah. Well, I want you to know is it was a great honor coaching these guys, and that I got to know a lot of their parents. I can remember one time when Tommy lost as a junior, he leaned his head over in the semifinals and got rolled to his back in this section, individuals. And I remember Dayton coming down, and it wasn't like, "Oh, I really feel bad." He said, "Well, maybe next year." And the next year came and made the state final. So I want to thank everybody here, not for my sake, but for these kids' sakes and the parents. The parents are really important. Because you raise your kids not only to be good competitors, but to be honorable out on the mat. And that's what they did, or on the court or on the ice. There weren't many cheap shots. A lot of times this team, it won the best sportsmanship award in all these tournaments in their career. So I want to thank you. And I'm sorry it took so much time because Jack said I couldn't talk that. I had to prove it wrong. But I want to say one last thing. I know there's nowhere to go anyway. You know, church is over. You're not going to miss anything. But Tanner Upton, these guys can do the talking. I just would say, like the guy comes out, when they use that for rest or something, that would be somebody that's sitting in or something. But I do volunteer pieces for the Guillotine, the Rest magazine. And so I had to call the retired coach from Frazee, Clay Nagel, one of the best coaches in the state of Minnesota. Like 7, 8 state titles tonight. So we're talking a little bit after we talked about this one coach that is dying and saying nice things. He says, "You know what I remember, girl?" I said, "What?" "I remember Tanner Hubda wrestled my son in the state team tournament, in the section team tournament in 1995. Now, Mr. Nagel's son became a state champion one or two times at least. And he said, I'll never forget that match, because it was really a tough match, And when it was over, and Tanner lost by maybe 2 points, he shook the other coaches see. He shook Travis's Nagel's hand and smiled and patted him and walked off the mat. Now that's class. That's what Roseau is class too. When you can lose and lose with dignity. And that was nice. You know, we only had a few of our guys who could get mad. It's just I couldn't break their legs because their dads were tougher than me. I didn't do much, but I want to thank you. That's what you did. You impressed people with your sportsmanship. Now here, may I present Tanner Hobdell.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. I don't have a lot to say. I have no notes or anything, so. We're, on behalf of all of us, we are very honored. Even at the moment, right now, we're standing up doing some grades. I look on the hallway, and I see everybody. I mean, to put us in, to put us in with the grades, we all feel very honored. And like Rose said, I mean, we got Chad from North Carolina, Tommy from Alaska, Dana drove over from Omaha, got here at 10 o'clock last night. The honor we feel to be part of this Hall of Fame. I want to thank you for that, you guys. Thanks to the committee for thinking of us. Thanks for nominating us. We feel really honored, so I appreciate that. I do want to thank the coaches. I got Dino Husker back here and Dale Janicki and of course Bro. The emotion, the support, the love, the time, the sacrifice. You guys, we can never thank you enough for what you did for us. Wrestling coaches are also in a unique position. They end up being wrestling dummies. You know, there's times when, you know, Ben was a bigger guy. The amount of hours Dale spent live wrestling with Ben. I mean, it was hours and hours. And I mean, I can even think of injuries you guys had. You know, it's just like crazy. Bro, I remember wrestling Bro. Again, hours. They spent so much time with us. But Bro was what you call a counterman. And when Bro would wrestle with you, you get in his stance, you know, like this. And he's always leading with that one leg because he wanted you to shoot that leg as a counterman, and he's going to counter you. He would never shoot on the legs. And for some reason, he always had a big wad of keys in that one lead leg. So the first thing eventually they bait that you're going to shoot, you know, it's just something. First thing you hit a big wad of keys. And then Bro, he spins around, he starts working his crossface, you know. So it's a memory that I have and I will never forget. I cannot thank you coaches enough for the time and energy you spent. So, I thought a while on what to talk about, and you know, something unique to wrestling and to boxing and that. Bro alluded to it too a little bit, but cutting weight is something unique, and it's something that you have to learn how to do. There's a few stories I could think of, and when we're younger, we're trying to figure it out. You know, I can think of one time we went to International Falls, and we get done, we weigh in, and then a lot of times it's 60 to 90 minutes before you have to wrestle, so you got to be very conscious of what that first meal is going to be. So we went into International Falls, we're all in the locker room together, and Ben Dieter's got this box of this strawberries. You know, it's that strawberry syrup you get in the freezer aisle, and he's drinking them, and I'm like, note to self, I'm definitely going to get that after the next weigh-in. You know, look good, look delicious. So we go out and we're wrestling our duel. So we're going up, we start from the bottom, and we're working our way up, and Ben was a bigger guy, so he's out there wrestling, and it was a tough match. It was a full 6-minute match. He comes off, and we pat him on the back. He won by a few points. And I'm sitting on the chairs. The wrestlers were watching the next match, and I hear this explosion behind me. I didn't know if a water main broke or what happened, and I turned and looked, and a projectile coming out of Ben was just astronomical, it's like a fire hose, you know. And of course, it is bright red. And by the time he's done, I mean, we're not talking a 4-foot circle, we're talking a 14-foot circle. I mean, it was awful. So, note to self, do not buy strawberries. With time, you figure it out, and I got just one more story left, and this is, we actually had a home weigh-in. So sometimes we have a Friday night weigh-in, and then we go down and we wrestle Saturday. Well, we're weighing in Bro's room, and we always have to have an administrator with me too. So Yahtzee's actually administrator, just making sure that we make weight. And, Dana's at 140.0, he's got to weigh that or less, so Dana steps on the scale, 139.9 or 140.0, whichever. And Roll looks at Gotsi and goes, watch this. Dana walks over, and he got akin to liking canned spaghetti. It was kind of his thing, his go-to after you weigh in, your first meal. So Dana walks over, and I think he had the lids off a couple, even ready to go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
You gotta be really self-conscious about what you eat every day.
Absolutely. Good time to figure that out. Well, in less than a minute, he had a couple cans of them down and his jug of Powerade, and Ro looks at Dana and Gotchi standing next to him and goes, Dana, come here. Hop on the scale again. 145.0. In less than 1 minute, he put on 5 pounds. But you get accustomed to it, it's a different thing. So, lastly, I want to say thank you to you guys. Thanks to the board for doing this, but what it also did for us is, I don't think it would have happened, probably we wouldn't have thought about it. You gave us a resting evening. We went to Donna's yesterday, and we hung out, and we told stories. We're all here except one. I mean, that's from the honor that we feel and the brotherhood that we have. I'll always stand behind you guys will always stand behind me, we'll stand behind each other, we know that. So the hours we spent wrestling, sharing blood, sweat, tears, injuries, along with the coaches, I mean, it's just some of the cherished memories we'll have. When I started to rally this all together, I started a group text thread, and there was like 18 of us in it. I didn't know what the limit was, but we got there. So we now have that, and if I need to bleed with somebody, if I need to cry with somebody, if I need to pray with somebody, I'll be reaching out to you guys, because I have that now and I love it. So thanks again, everybody, for coming. We really feel honored. Bro asked me to call out the name, and then guys, if you just want to turn around, smile at him and everything, I got Dean Husker back here, Dale Janicki back here, Ben Dieter, we got Nathan Hendrickson, Oliver Allman, Ryan Alverson, Tommy Grasham, Jeremy Lane, Josh Janicki, other you guys know the Foo, Aaron Rose, Brady Eidsmo, Chad Anderson, Joel Fugelberg, Shane Larson, Jimmy Renfro, and Steve Hobby. So, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. Oh, Dave Paulson, sorry.
Thank you so much for coming. Remember that there is cake or cupcakes or whatever and treats after, a chance to visit with all these folks. So please do in the Commons. And wrestling team, I think Bro needs you all on a picture, right? So you maybe know that already, but gather someplace with Bro and Tanner, okay? Thank you very much for coming.